Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and this video is brought to you through the EA Creator Network, as I did receive early access so I could go over everything in the brand new expansion pack, The Sims 4 Horse Ranch, and all the Creator Sim assets, which, to be honest, I wasn't the most excited about this Creator Sim. Even what we had seen in the trailers, I was like, this feels very, very similar to packs that we already have. Obviously, if you don't own all of the packs, then these might feel different to you, but to me personally, it just isn't that standout. It's definitely not one of those packs that I'd even put monetary value on the Creator Sim just because of what I already do have within my game. But let's get into it. Starting off with the new aspirations, we get two of them. We have Championship Rider. Both of these aspirations are just a one-stage aspiration. I will say I do think the Nectar one is harder than the Championship Rider. This is basically just about getting your riding skill to level 10 and working alongside your horse to enter competitions, get gold across all of the disciplines 5 times over, and then ultimately finish your horse riding experience in The Sims 4 with the Ultimate Horse Championship. And then the second one is actually Expert Nectar Maker. This means that you have to achieve level 5 in the nectar making skill, which is the highest. It's a level 5 skill. You have to earn 100,000 simoleons through nectar, which is going to be quite easy because it does sell for a lot, especially if it is finely aged. But the most difficult part of this is that you have to create 50 bottles of excellent nectar, which means you're gonna have a pretty green thumb so that you have really good produce alongside actually being good at nectar making. If you want to see the steps a little bit more in depth, I do actually go over both of these in my gameplay video that I uploaded earlier. Alongside the new aspirations, we actually have 2 new traits as well. The first one is Rancher, which I have to say I really didn't notice much about this trait at all. If anything, I got some random moodlets that were like, oh, I feel sad because I want to look after the farm, and also I feel happy because the ranch is thriving, and that was pretty much it. So Rancher just didn't stand out to me whatsoever. And then secondly, we have Horse Lover, which I definitely found to be the more prominent trait. If you have a horse lover, it's really, really easy to befriend animals. I don't know if this had an effect on it, but I felt like my riding skill went up quicker because my sim was flying through the first stages of their riding skill. They literally hit level 10 way before my horse hit level 10 in any of its skills. And we do also have a couple of new likes and dislikes. Under the music category, Sims can now choose to like or dislike ranch music. So if you're going to be doing a lot of cowpoke dancing, I would suggest making your sim like this, or else their life is going to be miserable. And then under hobbies and skills, you can like or dislike horse riding and also nectar making. Cheeky little bonus. Kids also have the option to have the horse lover trait and can also choose horse riding as a like or dislike. We're going to start off with the masculine tag stuff first. So in total, we have 6 hairs, 3 different facial hairs, 6 different hats, 5 new head accessories, 3 styled looks, 19 tops, 3 bottoms, 4 full body outfits, 1 body accessory, and then 2 pairs of shoes for a grand total of 52 items. The hairstyles, they're alright to look at, like they look decent, like the actual details of the hairs look good. I particularly like the shorter cropped one that has a couple of the waves. And then once again, the Afro textured hairstyles actually, I feel, carry the rest of this Creator Sim. However, 6 new hairs where half of them already look like hairs that we have in the game isn't the most inspiring thing that I've ever seen in the game, and I'm really not a fan of it, to be completely honest. The facial hair I do actually really like. I have a lot of custom content that actually looks very similar to these facial hairs. So we have 2 like really heavy mustaches, and then we do have an Afro textured, curly textured beard, which again, I just want more of those different textures actually within base game. It's nice that we're getting the odd 1 or 2 in expansion packs, but it means absolutely nothing when like most players can't actually access it or represent themselves. For the hats, obviously we get like 4 different cowboy-esque hats, and I'm not mad at that, honestly. Like, I quite like having different hats and being able to accessorize. I will even hold my hands up and say the cap doesn't look that bad. Like, it actually fits the Sim's head quite well. I'm never gonna complain about having more hats because I actually love to accessorize my Sims. Speaking of accessories, I quite like both of the earrings that are included. We did get a sort of like bolo necklace necktie type thing, but I do wish that we had a different version of this, like one with a jewel, because it definitely feels more like a necklace than a bolo tie. I like that the bandanas are just accessories. Hopefully that opens up Create a Sim to actually like adding more scarves and more neck accessories that are like that. Would be a fan. But when it comes to the actual clothing, I have to hold my hands up and say, if you have a lot of other packs, like this is really just gonna feel similar to a lot of the stuff that you probably already have within your game. Like, even looking at it now whilst I'm recording this video, obviously I've seen it within the game and I've like used it, but I said from the get-go it kind of reminded me of Seasons. Like, we have a fair few denim jackets, and then it also obviously reminded me of Strangerville because we have the very like Western influence within Strangerville. That's a very specific game pack, so I feel like not everyone would have that. So this is kind of that Western influence if you don't already own Strangerville. It also reminds me of Jungle Adventure just because of a lot of the shirts and again sort of the denim that we have. The denim is pretty much mismatched. I will say I don't mind that. I imagine like a lot of people are gonna be using double denim. Like, I was going through it like, ooh, does this have a specific denim that matches with this? But at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. There are some pieces that do match, but I would actually prefer them to be mismatching. Obviously, we do have a few assets that have the kind of scuffed up dirt version of them. I like that that's a swatch. I like that we have sort of a few more rundown options within Create a Sim. I would have liked it if that was like a gameplay feature on top of having those swatches within Create a Sim though. I kind of wish that, say, if you fell whilst you were making nectar or you got booked off your horse, you could actually like get up with like scuffs on you, kind of like when your Sims pee themselves and they get dirt. I just think it would have added to the realism a bit and would have made those little moments just feel like a moment and like that they actually had an effect on your Sim. This feels like blasphemy, what I'm about to say, but when it comes to the men's bottoms, they literally haven't even given us a proper bootcut jean. I was expecting maybe a bit of a flare out. Obviously, we do get the chaps, but how are you gonna give us cowboy boots? How are you gonna give us horse riding and then not give us a really nice like couple of bootcut jeans and just give us bottoms that look like they belong in the Sims 4 base game? I will say though, if you don't like rolled up jeans and you don't like Sims showing your ankles, you're probably in luck because these jeans actually don't do it. The full body outfits for the masculine Sims are not my favorite. They just don't fit well, and I feel like some of the tops and bottoms you can obviously use outside of this pack, whereas I feel a lot of the full body fits are very specific to actually Chestnut Ridge and horse riding and that kind of like old school Western like cowboy film vibe. I just don't know that you're gonna get a lot of use out of them like in your day-to-day. We did get some new gloves, which I never usually like how gloves fit on Sims. These aren't the worst ones. I actually will use these for like gardener's gloves, which I never usually do because they usually look like they're just a second skin that cling to your Sim's hand, and it makes me really, really uncomfortable. I mean, the fact that like gloves are one of the standout objects for me doesn't say a lot about this Create a Sim. I just think it's uninspiring. I don't know if people are going to use it outside of like horse riding and Chestnut Ridge. I think it's quite nice for gardener Sims because you do have those scuffed up, and I would like to see more of that run down. Obviously, we just got the grunge kit. We obviously got werewolves, which had like pretty tatty clothing, and I like that sort of stuff. I want to see more of it in build mode. I want to see more of it in Create a Sim. So that's a win for me, but that's pretty much about the only win. For feminine Create a Sim, we have 7 hairs, 6 hats, 5 head accessories, 2 styled looks, 18 tops, 8 bottoms, 6 full body fits, 1 body accessory, and 4 shoes for a total of 57. So they actually get less tops than masculine, which is wild to me, but they do get more bottoms and more full body outfits. So technically they still get a few more assets, and a lot of like the stuff kind of crosses over. I feel like they've sort of made femme versions and then mask versions of a fair few of the fits. So I guess you could say Create a Sim is cohesive in that sense. Once again though, I don't feel like the hairstyles are the strongest that we've ever had. They do still look similar to a lot of the stuff that we already have within the game, and there's no like real standouts for me. When it comes to the clothing, I feel like, especially for the full body fits, because obviously I've just said that the masculine full body fits felt a bit like old-timey, and I do feel like they're going to be quite difficult to sort of use outside of like horse riding or western tales that you want to tell either in Strangerville or in Chestnut Ridge itself. The feminine stuff actually feels a bit more usable. It feels a bit more neutral in a way. I definitely feel as if you can wear these like outside of those western inspired worlds, which is a nice thing for me personally. I do obviously use Create a Sim an awful lot, and therefore like I like having stuff that's not just specifically tied to a time period or a specific world. That I'm not a massive fan of the t-shirt hoodie thing that has the horse logo on. The slouch t-shirt off the shoulder thing looks like 10,000 other pieces that we have. Like even in base game, a lot of the plaid shirts also resemble things that we have in base game. Like I don't think it's the best thing in the world when an expansion pack just kind of recreates what we have in base game, even though we all know base game textures aren't the best. That's how I feel about the hairs as well. I'm not a fan of the bottoms that come for either frame within Create a Sim. I don't know what it is about them. I think for feminine, because a lot of them are sort of like frilly skirts that have fringes, and I don't really use those assets all that often. I would say like the plain denim skirt and also the flares, but specifically the stripy flares are what I'm gonna get the most use out of, again because it kind of feels like custom content that I already use within my game, so it's nice having an original asset of that. I really don't think this is going to be everyone's cup of tea. I really do feel like this is a specific type. I do think that you can maybe push it to like vintage if you wanted to go down that route, or if you can't download custom content for whatever reason that may be, and you've been interested in like the decades challenge, or you do want to pinpoint those specific time frames within the game. I feel like this pack definitely allows you to do that more than a lot of other packs that we have in The Sims 4. I know that's a very, very niche category, but I feel like this is a pretty niche Create a Sim overall. One thing I did find funny whilst I was actually recording this and like checking out Create a Sim was the fact that I clicked into athletic and absolutely none of the assets in this pack were listed as athletic, which like there is a dedicated like horse riding equestrian full athletic getup, and even that wasn't tagged as athletic. So just do note that when your sim is actually riding a horse, they will just leave on the outfit like either everyday wear, or if they're in the hot weather they'll wear that, if they're in the cold weather they'll wear that. They don't like have to be wearing an athletic outfit when they're riding on horses. I thought that was a pretty important note just to let you know how it actually works. It also doesn't feel like we got too many crop things this time around, which is a nice surprise because I feel like we get crop tops so frequently in The Sims 4. Don't get me wrong, I feel like they are still cropped up to sort of the hip area, but then a lot of the bottoms actually come up like past the belly button and you won't be able to see it. I kind of wish I had like paired things together more to see how they had worked as outfits, because I would like to see how the clothes fall like on top of one another. That's definitely a regret that I have about not checking that out throughout early access. Unfortunately, the one pair of trousers that I really, really like, which is like the bootcut jeans, are unfortunately one of the only lower waisted bands that we have which means I'm probably not even going to use those as much as I would have liked. And then the younger age groups really don't get that much. Kids get 3 hairstyles, 2 hats, 1 styled fit, 3 tops, 2 bottoms, and 1 pair of shoes. I actually think that feels like one of the smaller catalogs that we've had for Create a Sim for children in a very long time, which is unfortunate because kids can actually ride horses. They can learn the horse riding skill. They can be a horse lover. So it feels like they've kind of attached gameplay to kids, but then Create a Sim is just like a second thought to them and it kind of got forgotten about. Don't get me wrong, I quite like the kids asset. Like the little skirt is cute. Don't get me wrong, the jeans just look like any old jeans that are available. They of course do get cowboy boots, the most important asset obviously for this. Toddlers only get 1 top, 1 bottoms, 1 full body fit, and 1 pair of shoes. I mean, they're cute, but at the end of the day, are 4 assets really worth it for the toddlers? I like the chaps, okay, but it doesn't really make sense because we don't have rocking horses for toddlers. Like, they can't participate in horse riding whatsoever. Why they have chaps is, I don't know. Maybe it's just for like a costume. And then infants just get this little onesie. A lot of people thought this was a unicorn. It's just a horse. There are no unicorns. I will repeat it. Apart from the fact that you can have a horn within Create a Pet. Also, another note, because I feel like I'm going to get questions about this, children actually don't automatically start wearing a helmet, which I quite like that they don't. I mean, in the general safety sort of things, I feel like they probably should, but it really annoyed me that Sims like instantly wore a cycling helmet when they were riding bikes. That's not the case when it comes to horses. If they're wearing a hat, they'll keep their hat on. If they're not wearing anything, they will continue to wear nothing. So you actually have to opt in to wearing a helmet, which I prefer. So there we have it. That's my Create a Sim overview. At the end of the day, it's not the most fun Create a Sim. I would have no drive in me to like even think about Create a Sim actually being something that I wanted to put my money down on because, like I said, I am in the lucky position that I already own previous packs. It's very similar to Strangeville. It's very similar to Seasons, Jungle Adventure. I feel like we have assets that exist and already sort of cover this area of Create a Sim for me personally. I would love to know what you lot think of it though. Like I said, I do think you could maybe push some of these assets to like feeling more vintage, which is fair and valid. Some of them feel very old-timey and I just know I'm never ever gonna touch them again after this video, specifically the masculine full body outfits. The denim assets to me feel like the most usable. They feel like they're not restricted to a time period or a specific world or a specific activity. But again, we already have a lot of denim within the game, so let me know what you all think about this. I know this probably wasn't the video that you wanted to see, but I just had to give my honest opinion. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will speak to you all in my next one, which is hopefully going to be a World and Townies overview tomorrow. Fingers crossed.